Let me ask you a question. How often does she come and nudge you, put her nose underneath, and nudge you like this?
Very rarely.
Okay. Does she ever come and scratch at you or put her chin on your thigh when she wants your attention from you?
Sometimes, but very rarely. She only scratches me like when I'm standing and working at my desk on my back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some dogs will come and nudge you with their nose, put it underneath your arm, and it's kind of like, hey, pet me. Mm-hmm. Now, when a dog does that or scratches at me or barks at me, they can do it a lot of different ways. They're basically giving me an order, pet me, pay attention to me. If I pet them or pay attention to them, I'm validating, yes, you have the authority over me. You tell me what to do and I do it. So what I've come up with is a technique a couple of years ago I developed. I call it petting with a purpose. Mm-hmm. I consider petting a dog our way of paying the dog. So I want to pay the dog for doing what I want to do. But if the dog comes up and scratches or barks at me or nudges me or puts its chin, if it puts its chin on your knee and looks up and it looks really cute, it is cute. But it's still telling the dog you have the authority to tell the human what to do. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I make the dog sit, come, or lie down before I provide them attention or affection. So a lot of people over pet their dogs, and especially a lot of women think that unconditional, well, not women, everybody, all humans generally think unconditional love is a very revered, something we should cherish, and we do. But for dogs, they look at unconditional love as really weakness. Yeah, it should come with some structure. So what I do with petting with a purpose is I ask the dog to sit, and then as soon as it sits, I pet it and I say the word sit. Mm-hmm. Or lay down. And again, if you want to use my word crash or whatever fun word you want to come up with, and come. So she's got to do something. Those aren't asking her a lot. Yeah. But every time she does this, she's kind of, every time you get in a habit of doing this, you create a little training, little mini training session that you do every time you pet your dog.
Got it.
So now, when a dog is proud about what it's done, if this is the dog's nose and the head is here, they tilt their nose up in the air if they feel proud about it. So you've probably seen her with a toy or something. She's walking around feeling good about herself. I want her to feel good about doing the things that we want her to do.
Got it.
And I call these desired behaviors. So sitting, coming, on command, or lying down. You can take a nap. All right, so when I want to give a dog a treat, number one, I usually use this hand position.
Okay.
I usually like to have a 90-degree bend like this and extending it towards the dog.
Got it.
If I hold it like this, the dog can see I don't have a treat.
Okay.
You're going to be a tough cookie. The lower you go, typically, the more it's for the dog. Come.
She doesn't understand.
There. So when she comes, I'll actually pull out a treat. So as a result of the nose up, I like to pet a dog under its nose whenever possible, under its chin, to create that nose up. I'm going to let you have one so you know what we're dealing with. I've got the really good stuff here. All right, so now that we have your attention, I'm going to put one in my hand. She's giving a challenge. There we go. Come. Come. So the second she takes the treat out of my hand, if I'm using a treat, she should hear the command word at the same time. Now, for this, she doesn't quite know how to do this yet, and being a street dog, she might have different rules. But I start out with this bend, but extending it towards her. Now, again, this is confrontational. So if I turn myself, my orientation sideways like this, and now offer it, it's more approachable for a dog. Now, when I want to get a dog to sit, I go over their head like this. Sit. As soon as her butt hits the ground, I lower my hand, let her lick the treat off, and I start scratching her under her chin.
Got it.
This assigns the action with the reward with the command word.
Got it.
So if every time, if you want to pet her, if you hold up your hand like this, come. So I want her to sit. So I can raise my hand over the dog's head to put him into a state. You can say sit as a command. I know you just taught her how to sit. But if every time she sits, when you do the rocking motion, you lower your hand, let her lick it off your hand, and say the word sit, eventually she kind of puts it together.
Got it.
Now what will happen is after a while, she's going to come and start sitting in front of you saying, look, I'm sitting. Shouldn't you be paying attention? The answer is yes, at least whenever you can. So as soon as she sits...
So that happened when I was teaching her leave it, and she left stuff, and then I would give her a treat and pet her.
And say the word.
And she learned it, but then she would go and pick up something else and look up at me. So she knew.
So she got some of it, but she also realized that grabbing things can get your attention.
Yeah,
so we're going to go over off camera. I'm going to show you how to teach her to drop things on command. So what will happen is after a while she's going to come and start sitting in front of you. So when she sat before we were filming this, I told you to pet her, and you're like, but she's already sitting.
Yeah.
So I just want her to understand that every time I sit, I get attention from my guardian.
Okay, got it.
Every time I lie down, I get attention from my guardian, and I hear the word crash. Every time I come to there, I get attention from my guardian, and I hear the word come.
Got it.
So anything your dog does on its own, I call this passive training.
Got it.
So I taught my dog to stretch this way. Every time he stretched, I would pet him and give him a treat and say stretch. And so now I can say stretch, and he sticks his butt in the air and wiggles his tail and yawns at the end on command. So every time that she comes over to you and just looks cute, ask her to sit by raising her hand over it. As soon as she sits, if you don't have a treat, then you should reach down and you just pet her.
Okay.
And just say the word sit. But as soon as she sits down, now if she sits and then you start petting her and say sit and she gets up, then we stop petting her. She's no longer in that position. Okay. What will happen is eventually, like I said, she's going to come sit in front of you, come and lay down in front of you, or to get your attention. That's a new way of asking for it. So remember, whenever she does, to reach over and pet her and say crash. This is how I teach down, by the way. Sorry. There we go. Almost. There. Down. So as soon as her chest hits the ground, I release the treat into her mouth. I say the word down, or crash, or whatever you're going to use. All right. So petting with a purpose. Asking your dog to sit or lie down or come to you is not asking a lot, but it helps to create a healthy leader-follower dynamic where the dog respects you as an authority figure and recognizes if I want something from her, I have to do something for her.
Got it.
Easy. Petting with a purpose is the easiest thing you could do that will have the best ROI.
Okay, got it.
And so after, it'll take you a couple days and you're petting her, sit. And that's fine, do that. And then after about a week or so, you'll just be asking her to sit while you're on the phone, or you're having you have two completely different set of conversations. And then she'll start understanding that I want to do. Generally, when dogs respect us, number one priority is how can I please them. So now we're giving her a couple things she can do to please you: sitting, laying down, or coming on command. So that's a quick summation of petting with a purpose.